So now we're going to learn how to add or subtract fractions without using the lowest or least common denominator. So how would you evaluate 7/8 minus 1/22 without using the LCD? Well, remember the LCD, or the least or lowest common denominator, is just the lowest common denominator for 7/8 and 1/22. But we can, in theory, use any common denominator to evaluate this expression. And so the easiest way to form a common denominator for two fractions is to multiply the numerator and the denominator of the first fraction by the denominator of the second fraction. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take 7/8 and you're going to want to multiply it by 22/22. Because 22/22 is equal to 1, and because 22 is the denominator of the second fraction. And from this you're going to subtract the second fraction, but the second fraction also has to be converted into an equivalent fraction that has the same denominator as the first one. So you're going to multiply this one by 8/8, because 8/8 is equal to 1, and because 8 is the denominator of the first fraction. Now, this method is not guaranteed to give you the least or lowest common denominator, but it is guaranteed to give you a common denominator. So let's go ahead and evaluate this expression. So this is going to equal to, well, here we have 7 times 22. So I'm just gonna evaluate it over here in the margin. So we basically have 22 times 7. 7 times 2 is equal to 14. 7 times 2 is equal to 14 plus 1, 154. So we're going to have 154 over 8 times 22. 8, or rather, let me do it 22 times 8. 8 times 2 is equal to 16. 8 times 2 is equal to 16 plus 1 is equal to 17. 176. 176. And then this second multiplication of two fractions is just going to evaluate to 1 times 8 is just 8. And then in the denominator, we have 22 times 8. This is going to be the same as 8 times 22, which is 176. We've done it over here. 176. And so this is going to equal to 154 minus 8. Well, 154 minus 8 is equal to 146 over 176. Now we're not actually done here. We can reduce this fraction. It's very easy to reduce this fraction by taking out a 2 from the numerator and the denominator, because both the numerator and the denominator are even numbers. So 146 divided by 2 is just going to be equal to 73. And 176 divided by 2, well, 2 goes into 176. 2 goes into 17 8 times. 8 times 2 is equal to 16. Subtract 1, drop down to 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 16, 0. So it's equal to 88. So your final answer is 73/88.